Release the Kracken. Sidney Powell, I'll explain who she is here in a minute, said last week that she was ready to release the Kracken. Well, today she was on Fox News and she released the Kracken. And this is going to get interesting. I mean, interesting like you would not believe. Sidney Powell is a high-end lawyer. She's the one that took over Flynn's case, and when she took it over, things changed immediately. She made the FBI come up with a bunch of documents, and eventually it was proved that Flynn did nothing wrong and he was basically framed. And, you know, she's been fighting this judge who the Justice Department's trying to drop it, and this judge won't let him drop it, which I don't know if I've ever heard of that before, but they're doing it. And she's been fighting with this judge, and boy, she got into it with him one time. I've never met Sidney Powell, but the two things I get from watching her is, number one, I don't want to be on the other side of her. I think she is a tough, smart cookie, and she knows what she's doing, and she knows the law very well. The other thing is, she doesn't say anything she can't back up. She's not somebody going out there running her mouth. If she's out in public saying this, they've got proof, and it's gonna come out. So what is she saying? Well, let me back up just a little bit. General McInerney basically said the same thing earlier in the week, a little different version of it. Now, I met General McInerney. I haven't talked to him much, but he was the commander of the 11th Air Force right before I got to Elmendorf. I met a lot of senior NCOs and officers that served under him, and he's extremely well respected. Was kind of had a reputation of being, I wouldn't say a hard nose, but very straightforward. You know, when they come out and said that you couldn't say Merry Christmas anymore in the Air Force, you had to say Happy Holidays. Well, he said, screw that. I want you to say Merry Christmas. So he's that type of guy. He's not somebody that walks on glass, you know, or picks what stones to throw. If he sees something wrong, he goes for it. So we've got two very prominent, very well-respected individuals coming out and saying this. So what's Sidney Powell saying? You know, we talked earlier about Dominion and Smartmatic and that. Well, the Trump team has filed a lawsuit against Dominion, and I'm not sure if they're including Smartmatic in that or not. But supposedly they have affidavits from people that were involved with Smartmatics, explain what it's for, how it's done, and how it was done in this election. And I'm assuming that there's an electronic trail that they can find and uncover. But she is saying that this is going to, the Fox News host, Maria, whatever her name is, said that just these two systems alone affect 2,000 jurisdictions in 30 states. And some of these other voting machine producers also use the Smartmatics. And, you know, the general said, and Sidney Powell's in a roundabout way has said it, that if we don't straighten this out now, we'll never have a fair and free election again in this country. You know, they've done some audits in New Hampshire, and it's amazing. every audit has given the Republicans more votes, taken away from Democrats. I mean, every race that they've audited, and they've only really been doing local races. They haven't done the big picture race. But New Hampshire was a curiosity to me because Hillary barely squeaked out New Hampshire. I mean, I can't remember what it was, but it was like 0.3% or something like that she won. And then Biden comes through and wins it by 6% or something like that. It doesn't make sense to me, but, you know, I haven't talked about it because I don't have any insight in it. It doesn't pass the smell test. And, you know, especially when the Republicans took over the New Hampshire House. But so I don't know why everybody would vote for them down ticket and vote for Biden at the top of the ticket. But you know, we'll figure this out in time. But if this is proven to be correct, and one thing she said President Trump didn't win by hundreds of thousands of votes. He won by millions. And, you know, General McInerney in his interview said, how can a guy that hasn't campaigned is having give a press conference longer than an hour, hasn't been asked a real question, is going out and talking to maybe 12 cars, which, by the way, I didn't know this, but one of the rallies that he was at, I guess nobody really showed up. So they went down to the Jeep dealership and got all these Jeep cars. And, of course, the media didn't film it or photograph it or nothing. But he's sitting there talking to all these empty Jeeps all in the parking lot. I think that's pretty funny. And you know what? It's pretty telling. How is a guy that people won't even come out and show any support at all, how did he win 77 million votes? The most in the history of this country. Obama, at the height of his popularity in 2008, pulled down 69, and he had a lot of things. He had a lot of wind in his sails. Biden doesn't have any wind in his sails. Maybe coronavirus, but you know, I don't think most people blame the president for coronavirus. We blame who we should be blaming, the Chinese. But which may get this video deleted. I've already had one video deleted because I criticized Dr. Fauci. You know, go figure. I guess you can't criticize. Anyway, I won't go there. But this is going to get interesting. And, you know, if they prove that there was this much voter fraud, I don't think the Supreme Court has any alternative except sending it to the House. Now, they've got to prove it. And they've got to prove it right. Because all the courts are going to be very hesitant to step in and affect the election, which they should be. That's understandable and fine. But as soon as this is done, especially if it's proven, then we need, every state legislature needs to revamp their voting system and ensure that there's a paper trail and these elections are fair and free. Keep posted on this. This is going to get, like I said, this is going to get interesting. Thank you. Y'all have a good day.